Today is Projects Day. We have less than a week before Macy comes home from camp. It is Monday. We pick her up on Saturday. The project is already well underway. You see, her bathroom, which is also our guest's bathroom, is in dire need of something. The color is not so bad. It was the whole house was painted. Oh, not this loud. The whole house, when we moved in, was painted a light gray with just a hint of purple. So it's like an almost lavender, but really a gray. It's not an unpleasant color. At least it isn't white, right? But the problem is, in her bathroom, there wasn't already a towel holder. Tried one over the door. She didn't like it because it kept the door from shutting all the way. Fair enough. And it kind of tore up the door frame a little bit. I tried screwing one to the wall, but since it's drywall, it just came right out. And a towel was put on it. So then I thought, okay, I've got these really good wall mounting 3M adhesive squares. So I used those on the same wall hook. It was like on a board, you know, it was nice looking. Put that up. Well, it came right down within a day or two of having towels hung on it. Because somebody painted over wallpaper, and that's why this is just peeling off with reckless abandon. So I thought, this is going to be easy. I'll peel this all off, I'll prime the wall, and then I'll paint. So I start peeling, and then I get to a section where it's not peeling off so easily because there's a thick layer of plaster. Somebody had used a thick coat of plaster to cover the joint between two sheets of drywall. That must have been how it is. And it's not flat either. Like, there's a good thickness between the drywall and where the plaster is. So you can't just paint over that and not notice, like, wow, look at this weird lump. And there's also, it looks like maybe plaster up around the molding too. So I don't know what was going on. My plan was already to paint that big wall plus the wall with the door and one of the shower walls, but not to paint the mirror and the toilet wall, because painting behind toilets is a pain in the ass and kind of gross to put your face that close to a toilet bowl. So I spent almost all of yesterday peeling away at the wallpaper and then trying to chip away the paint that's on top of the plaster. So I got all that cleaned off. It was a whole trash bag full of paint that had come off on wallpaper. So this is why you don't paint over wallpaper. You take the time to scrape it off because, like, it just came off. Except for where the plaster is. And it turns out too that there must have been a built-in medicine cabinet on the same wall where the door is, because there is a drywall patch there. So while I'm scraping this off, I decided I've got to figure out some way to cover up, or at least make blend where the plaster is. So maybe I'll create some kind of texture. Okay, keep in mind, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can paint walls, I can wallpaper walls, but I have never textured a wall. So I go to Lowe's the other day and I ask the people in the paint department, I need something to make texture on walls. And I thought, joint compound, something like that. So she takes me to mud, I guess that's what they call it in the industry. And the joint compound was gone, which is what I wanted, because I'd seen it used in art videos before on a canvas, which is, flat like this. But she said, well, there was a big bucket of stucco. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just get that, because I don't know any better. So I get it home this morning. I crack that puppy open. It's real sandy. I'm like, okay, this is a nice feeling texture. So then I start putting it on the wall, and gravity is, it is, and the stucco just it will stick, but if I try to press down at all to spread it out, it just beads up and falls. Okay, so some of it's still on the wall, of course, but I would say a quarter of it every time was falling to the floor. I was like, all right, this is going to take me forever. It's going to be all over the floor, and it was like $30 for that tub, and I don't want half of it to be on the floor by the time I'm finished. So I watched a couple tutorials. Turns out it takes 3 days for stucco to cure. I'm like, I don't want to paint, by then. So I watched some videos, and I think that what I need is spackle. So here I am at Lowe's again. the consolation is that Lowe's is right next door to Starbucks. So gonna go get some spackle and we're gonna try again. All right, I got I had to leave the house consolation. Actually, almost unnecessary. It is a beautiful day, and it was storming it was storming this morning. It woke us both up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we couldn't get back to sleep, and my cross country practice got canceled because of lightning. But then by 8 o'clock, storm was over and the sun came out. Here we are. So I ended up getting some spackle. I got this because it has a dryness indicator, and how much fun, it goes on pink and it dries white. So that'll be fun. And since I'm not quite sure yet, I have an idea of what I want to do. I got 3 tubs that size. That was all they had. So sorry if anybody else wanted the pink spackle. They have the smaller container, so there's that. So I'm thinking I'll use some texturing to smooth out the strip of plaster down the middle of the wall like this, and then also around the edges. But I also want to try to add some textures here and there throughout the rest of the wall, just so it doesn't look like, hey, they're trying to cover up some schmutz here. And I have this idea. It might be a little out there, but I'm gonna give it a try. So anyway, it's just an idea. It may not work, but I'm gonna try it. So I'm heading home now to get my spackle on. All right, I'm here in the bathroom. You can see behind me, that's the big wall. You can see, this is where it looks like they had a built-in medicine cabinet that they patched up. So I'm not gonna worry about peeling that off because I'm just gonna paint over it with primer. So this wall and this, I mean, it's thick. You can tell how thick that is. And then this is where I started to stucco. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I scraped as much off as I could. And then I'll do that part. Open up this spackle. Got some new hair color coming in this week. See, the pink's already gone. All right, well, first I need my good spackle knife. So I say good spackle knife, like I really know what I'm doing. I just meant bigger, bigger spackle knives. And I've got this little one too. Okay, that's a nice color. So pretty. Alrighty. That's fun. Fun little texture. Alright, let's see how it goes on. Already, this is tons better than the stucco because it was just peeling up and falling over the floor. Okay. This texture is really dreamy. My husband was teasing me about how much Macy and I are into textures because when I opened the stucco, I was like, ooh, the texture. And he's like, that's weird. I'm like, that isn't. And I don't want to do this all over. I don't think I have enough. But I'm going to do it here and there so it looks intentional. And then try my stencil idea. Hello, sir. We have company. Hello. He just likes to be where we are. He's been hanging out with me this whole time, laying on piles of wallpaper and paint. Okay, you can't eat this. This is not eats. Nope, sure isn't. Okay. Definitely more fun to play with than stucco. And I realized in the car that looking for tutorials on how to texture walls, I was looking for the wrong thing. I was thinking artistically, and all of the tutorials I found were looking at like construction wise, like you're finishing a wall, here's how you texture it. And I was like, no, I'm not that. I just want to make it look neat. So I was just using the wrong search words because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. If it isn't obvious. All right, so I'm gonna make some more progress here. Oh, it's already starting to dry. You can see that. That's cool. All right. I'll come back when I'm getting that stencil on. All right, well, I just finished that part, which was tough because I have to balance the ladder halfway in the bathtub. And all around, it looks like the bathroom wall has some kind of rash, but you can see where I started, it's already beginning to dry. I got that part, and I used 2 and probably about a quarter of these 32-ounce tubs. So I have enough to do the stenciling effect. Okay, so it's mostly dry. It's not completely dry. I can still see some pinkish, but it's dry enough that I'm gonna try it first here. Just put it right here. Try to give it as level as possible. I don't know. Stencil's a bit loose. Interesting. Come on. Oh, see? The risk you run with stencils right there. All right, I'm gonna put some on this wall. See how it goes. So I just finished adding a handful. You can hardly see where the first one is I put here because as it dries, it turns white. But I ended up putting one here and one here. And on this wall, it's kind of hard to see them. Now, I knew that without measuring and, you know, mathing, that I would not ever be able to get them level or even. So I decided to intentionally not make them evenly spaced. Tomorrow I'll prime it. That'll be fun. All right, it is time for primer. It's been 24 hours, so the spackle is completely dry. You can see no more pink except for that drop cloth I put up to protect the tile of the bathtub. I have a guest, but he's gonna have to go. Yes, you can't stay in here and get paw prints everywhere. Alrighty, time to prime. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this angle brush to do my cutting in first. I didn't tape off anything, especially with the primer since it's white already. And everything down here that I would be protecting is white, or I guess at one point in its life was white. But when I'm rolling, I find it easier if I've already done the edges. And I don't mind cutting in, but I hate taping. And in the process of priming this morning, discovered that, man, the door is really, really gross. I may end up priming and painting the inside of the door too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that because it's looking pretty rough. Needs some, I don't know what color I'm gonna paint it. Probably not the same blue. Something a little fancy, a little artistic. We'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Hey, excuse me, sir. You cannot have that. I need it. What are you doing? You just can't stand being locked outside. You little turkey. All right, everything is primed and ready for paint. It's a nice, pretty light blue color. Here it goes. Ooh, oh. This is where I have to be careful because it's not the same color as things that I don't want to be painted. I'm going to do this side first with a brush and then go over all the little doodads with a brush. Well, everything's painted. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see I went ahead and made the door the darker shade. That's the shade that I painted in the living room. Let me turn you around. Hello. I think it looks pretty good. I really like the effect of the raised areas of texture. Currently, I am working on the switch plates because that gross brownish color they come in is just not cute. So I wanted to do something artistic with the door, and I decided to go with a Kickin theme. All right, so I've sketched out the basic idea. I use chalk to do my sketches because it's easy to erase if I change my mind about something. And there are all the tentacles. So I think, oh, sorry. My idea is to do this creature in like blues and blue greens with maybe some highlights of magenta and maybe touches of copper, just because I like the way that looks. So I've got all of my paints here, my acrylic paints picked out. Since the shower curtain kraken is going to be orange, I don't want to have too much orange, but I'll probably put some maybe on the underside, make the suckers orange, or I'm really not sure yet. I know it'll be darker blue on the top and then lighter blue on the underside. And then the suckers, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. We'll figure that out as I go. All right, I'm gonna get started. All right, so I've got the base coats down, added a little bit of dimension with other colors. I'm trying to decide if I should make this part wider, if he's too narrow. I don't know, I think I might. I think it's gonna bug me how narrow he is. All right, so this bottom coat is done, and I've got my spooky coffee. Why is it spooky, you ask? Well, because it has booze in it. Booze. I spiked it. You might hear in the background, my husband is live streaming, and he wears these world canceling headphones, and he cannot hear anything, which means he has no idea how loud he is. I went ahead and I did make this part a little bit wider. I just think it makes it look a little more proportionate. I'm still wanting to go back in with some magentas and maybe some brighter greens here and there and coppers to add some detail, but I'm ready to make the little suction cups. You can see I went in with my chalk and I drew just the basic idea, there's it on here, of where I want all the little suckers to go. And that may be too many, they may be too small. I'm really not sure. I might just make them bigger, especially on the wider areas here. But I am going to use these colors, this kind of metallic blue, which I think is pretty, and this blue, which is not metallic. And then, of course, the same blue that's on the underside, but as a highlight, I'll use that. It seems we have company again. Hello, sir.
Yes.
All right, so I've got the base for the suckers on. I ended up making them a little bit bigger than what I had drawn just because, I don't know, the little ones looked silly. So now I'm gonna go in with some lighter and some darkers to give them some dimension, and I'll check back. All right, so I've got the suction cups detailed. Took me a few times around to figure out how I wanted them to look with the ring and then a dot in the center. When it's completely dry, I'll go in and erase my chalk lines. And I'm contemplating going around them with a Sharpie. I think I will. I've got some eyes going. I'm still gonna make some shines in those because we need some shiny eyes. I put a little bit of metallic blue on there. I'm getting ready to come in with some of these colors just for some details here and there. Just to make it interesting. All right, I went in and erased the chocolate. It makes a huge difference. I'm really liking that. So now I'm going to go in with the silver and accentuate some of that underbelly a little bit. All right. So the silver is hard to notice, but I kind of went in and just tried to put it where the underside of the tentacle was showing. There's a word I can't think of. And my brain's thinking of it, but I can't get it in my mouth. Exposed. That is the word, yes. And just to kind of show some variance between them. I am going to come back with a Sharpie after everything is dry, and I really hope that I don't hate that because there's no going back from that. An outline. I think it'll just make everything pop a little bit better. Well, I've got everybody outlined. My Sharpies were drying up, so that was kind of a pain. But it definitely helps everything stand out, especially where the underside of the tentacles meets the door because the colors are so similar. So I didn't outline all over the dark parts. I just didn't think I needed it. And there was a couple of places where the paint was already starting to chip up. So my last step is to coat everybody in a varnish. It is a satin varnish, so it's going to be nice and shiny, but that's what we got, so we're going to make it work. And here's the final reveal. Ooh, that looks nice. Shower curtain. Wall color, got the switch plates in. There's the Kickin. It looks so much better than it used to. I am pleased with how this turned out. The outlining definitely helped. Da-da-da!